Good day everyone and welcome to Exile News, the weekly show that brings you all the important news and information on Path of Exile. And the first news this week has been the preview of the patch notes for the latest update 3.8.1, which should mostly bug fix things and improve Blight. So we'll see that a bit later. First up, a little bit more information on the Exile. So the keynote presentation, of course, they said many times it's gonna be live streamed. So even if you cannot participate, definitely tune in to the live stream for the presentation because it's gonna be totally hype, and it's gonna happen on Friday evening if you're in Europe, Friday afternoon if you're in America, or in the morning of Saturday if you are in New Zealand, which means it's the usual time when GGG release leaks, and I believe this is intentional and it should work pretty much for everyone. Also, during this presentation, of course, there will be a lot of informations of the 3.9 expansion and its league, and this is gonna be more than we usually get when the new leagues are teased. And then we're also gonna get some 4.0 specific talks about unannounced content, of course currently unannounced content, so it means GG can actually sneak peek those before the ExileCon, and there's gonna be then general things like war design, random level generation, a founder panel, and a designer panel for obscure game mechanic questions, which could actually be pretty interesting if you manage to understand what's going on there. Also, there's going to be, of course, the race, and the prizes are pretty damn high, so it's $10,000 for the first place, 5,000, and then 2.5 for the third. Fourth one bites the dust and goes home dry, so, well, good luck not being that one. Also, there are going to be these plushies, which are pretty damn cool, and GGG said they are not necessarily limited to the ExileCon. However, everyone who goes there will be able to buy them, and then if any of those survive, they might be shipped later on, but that's still to be seen. Also, we got some Blight concept art, and of course, starting with Cassia, some league mechanic concept, which is pretty nice, some 3D there, even some animations, and you can see some of these towers actually made it in, like the first two. The other three didn't, which, well, we are not too sad about that. Also, finally, well, let's just jump this one and get into the patch notes, because on Wednesday the 3.8.1 was actually deployed, so they increased the amount of reward chests from each lane in Blighted maps, so Blighted maps should feel more rewarding. Also, the rewards now include oils for the Blighted maps, so you can actually get a decent return if you are very lucky, because it still seems that oils are rare as fuck. Also, there's a reduced amount of monsters that spawn during Blighted maps. This is intended to improve performances, of course, because less monsters means less lag, most likely due to all the calculation that the game has to make during an encounter, especially due to the high HP of the monster. We'll see that in a couple minutes. First up, also finally, Blighted monster can no longer have the Ally Cannot Die, Shroud Walker, Soul Conduit, Fractured, or Group Frenzy on Death, which again should not kill your computer just whenever any of those spawn. And then there's a couple tweaks to minion towers, couple tweaks to monsters, and a lot of bug fixes, which are always good, so definitely a good patch. I'm not sure how much it improved. The rewards, I feel like they have improved. However, the crashes during the map are probably still very high chance, actually depending on your build. But before talking about that, there's the free Carnival Mystery Box soundtrack. As usual, GGG allow us to download for free the soundtrack of the latest Mystery Box, and you can see there's also the previous Mystery Box soundtrack here, so if you missed any, just download it here. I think they're worth it. Anyway, about the performance, so the big problems is that normally when you are in Path of Exile and you encounter a lot of monsters, you cull most of them with the first strike, and then all that's left for the game is to calculate stuff for the other monsters that are left, but there are usually few of them. What happens in Blighted maps or just in Blight encounters is the fact that minions have a lot of HP, or monsters have a lot of HP, which means that they do not die right away, and then the game has to calculate a whole load of stats on those, and it slows down, and that's why the performances kind of go to hell, and to a bigger degree why all the map crashes. Also, the fact that most people are playing minions is kind of a problem, because minions, since they are monsters, they have all of the above problems applied to them as well, and also the fact that the changes intended to tighten the attack distances and all the kind of stuff they changed for the melee stuff the previous league kind of had a slowing effect on minions. So for example, slowing down pathfinding, causing other small performance regressions, and GG didn't really notice how much extra cost it added to minions back then, because it wasn't used by many players. However, this league, everyone and their mom are playing minion at least once, which means that all of these problems are amplified a lot, and then they come in contact with the Blight mechanic, which is crazy by itself, and everything explodes. So yeah, be very careful when you're running your maps, and be very careful which builds you play, because, well, it might just crash everything. To be honest, I haven't had much of a problem, although I have kept my Blighted maps for now, so I can't really speak too much for that. Anyway, GG is investigating driver crashes. It's investigating some instance crashing, most of which actually have been already fixed. And they're investigating in the client memory usage, which is using an unusually high memory usage. So also, the engine and the gameplay performance are two different things. So what GG has come to say is that the engine is always going to be a part of Path of Exile. It's gonna be with the Path of Exile forever, because GG made their own engine, so it's actually their own, and they can follow up the game forever. But the gameplay code comes and goes, they say, so they're gonna keep this in mind for the future content development. Also, consoles are in a bad spot, because, well, if PC have a hard time keeping up, consoles which have a much lower or slower hardware and that you cannot actually improve are definitely having bigger problems. So hopefully GG finds a way to improve the performances on console as well. Otherwise, we'll see. Next league is probably not going to be this heavy, but we'll have to see how that goes, since ExileCon is right around the corner now. But anyway, that was all for this week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and a comment down below. Also, if you want to remain updated every week, be sure to subscribe to my channel. That was all. I've been your host Orzo, and I'll see you guys the next time.